it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you are brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And we are back in Sulani. I'm just going to be hanging out here until the weather outside actually reflects the environment of Sulani because I'm sick of winter. But I'm also here because I've been playing a Legacy family off camera. I've been sharing snippets of them over on Twitter, and the current generation's main kind of character is Lila. Well, actually now it's her son, so head on over to Twitter to actually learn about that story. But Lila is actually a doctor, and when I decided to actively play that career with her, going to the hospital, of course it automatically sends you to Willow Creek Hospital. And it's in Willow Creek. So it kind of broke the immersion for me that she spends every other waking moment of her life in Sulani, where she lives on the beach, and then she was going to a hospital in Willow Creek where, you know, like let's say in the winter in Sulani, it's still beautiful and tropical. It just might get a little chilly, but like there's no snow and there's really no change to the environment per se. Whereas in Willow Creek, obviously like all the plants are dead and it's freaking cold and it's snowing. Totally broke the immersion for me, and I was like, you know what? Not today. I'm gonna make a hospital. So I got really excited and I decided to try to tackle building a hospital that belonged in Sulani. So I'm gonna say this right up front right now for myself and everyone. I don't like the outside of it. I'm just being honest. Like, I don't like the shape of it. I mean, a lot of hospitals, they don't have like this really appealing shape. That's not really a characteristic that they I don't know, that they possess. It's not like people are designing them to be extremely aesthetically pleasing and they don't necessarily have like one particular shape. There's so many ways and different plans that you could put in place to build a facility like a hospital. So I didn't have much to go off of. I kind of just like built what I thought would look okay. So it's very boxy, but I still really like it, and I kind of sort of loosely worked off of the shape of the Willow Creek Hospital, at least on the outside structure. The inside, totally unique floor plan. It's actually a 2-story hospital, and I was kind of worried about that because the Willow Creek Hospital, if you play the active doctor career that came with Get to Work, you'll notice that the hospital is all just one floor. And basically there are these 2 wings. So off to the right hand side are the patient exam rooms and the surgery tables. In the middle there is essentially the front office. There is also the lab where, you know, the doctors will run the swab sample results and log things on the computer. And then on the other side is a bathroom and kind of like, I don't know if it's supposed to be restricted to an employee kind of lounge, but there's like a cafeteria basically that your sim, whether you're playing like the doctor sim or other random sims that show up, they can actually go there and like grab a snack from the vending machine or something like that. So I kind of loosely worked off of that, but I basically just built one of the wings and then stacked the other one on top of it. I don't know if it's gonna like work for you guys, but I really like the inside. And it didn't take a long time for, you know, my sim to go from the first floor to the second floor to run the analysis, like tests, because I put the treadmill and the x-ray machine upstairs as well as the surgery table and the bathrooms. And then downstairs is basically the little like front office, a waiting room where they run all of their analysis, and the patient exam rooms. And outside in the back here is my favorite. I didn't plan this part. Like, I spent a lot of time planning the outside structure to try to avoid the very, very boxy look to it. I avoided it in some areas, and in others I honestly just couldn't. And I was also trying to avoid the roof pieces just being these big long roof pieces with no curves or real dimension to them. So I did add some roof decorations, which kind of helped. But the backyard area is one that I did not plan like at all. And when I get into the landscaping, I can't wait. Like, I cannot wait for you guys to see it. But right now I'm kind of creating these little sectioned off wings on the first floor as well. And these are actually where the patient exam rooms are. And there's 2 in each of these little boxes. So there's kind of like a hallway, which is essentially what that wing is. And you guys probably already saw very quickly the very open windows that I used that came with Island Living to kind of make that hallway very breezy, airy and open and like filled with sunshine. Like, I wanted this hospital to be a very strong representation of the style in Sulani. I mean, look at it, like it fits in, but I wanted the interior to also reflect that. I didn't want it to be the kind of more so like modern, not sci-fi, that's more so the stuff that came with like the scientist career, but the very sleek, clean, not very colorful, like medical hospital look, I did not want in this at all. I wanted it to still be very colorful, wanted it to represent the island and everything that came with that pack. So the exam rooms are here and they are very colorful, and they are off of this long hallway that opens up to the back gardens, which I thought was very therapeutic. So I was trying to think of things that you would have at a hospital aside from just exam rooms and your medical equipment. And one of the things I was thinking of was kind of like a rehab center. And maybe, you know, there were Sims that had like intense surgery and they were staying in the hospital for an extended period of time, but they needed a nice, calm, beautiful, like lively, lush place to kind of recuperate and kind of regenerate some of that energy and heal a lot faster. So I was thinking like a garden or something like that, like a walkway in the back of the hospital that led to a little garden or maybe like an outdoor seating area. And that's what I end up putting back here. So now I'm working on the landscaping, which I kind of wrap around the outside, complete the front because there are a lot of layers to the front, and then wrap up the backside. But now I'm kind of fleshing out the walkway because I wanted to put a little fountain here, and it is just the little tiny one from City Living that has like the little elephant. I thought it kind of fit the vibe I was going for. I thought it kind of fit the style. And then I decided to put some benches underneath this little like second story overhang right near these big wide windows. So you could kind of still sit in the shade and enjoy the view from outside and not like burn to a crisp in the hot Sulani sun. And then I just kind of like outlined this pathway here with some of the flowers that we got with Island Living. And that tile is, I think it's like a something sandstone is what the title was, and I believe it's base game, and I thought it worked really, really beautifully with everything from Island Living, because initially I was going to try the stone texture that we got with that pack, and I just didn't like the way it looked. Like there weren't swatches that were colorful or light enough, I felt, that matched the rest of this structure, because we have a decent mix. Like we have some really strong wood tones. I won't say neutrals, but we have like a ton of wood tones that all kind of go together. But then we have the really bright colored siding and like accent pieces and columns and stuff like that. And I was kind of going for a mixture. So this stone texture worked perfectly because the ones that we have with Island Living really didn't match the colorful side of the things that we got. It matched like the neutral side. And now I'm working on the landscaping in the front. So I did basically circulate this front pathway here that does cut off at the back. So it's not like it wraps around the whole building. I'm sure you could change it if you wanted to, but I just kind of wanted it to be available in the front. And I put a lot of those flowers we got with that pack, the low-lying just kind of like bushes, and then I went to the debug menu and grabbed some of the plants that you can see in the surrounding world in Sulani that weren't accessible when we first got the pack. They came in a patch when we got that huge upgrade to the 1,000+ objects in the debug menu, and I was so thrilled to find a lot of those plants there. And then I tossed this, basically the medical building sign out front, and kind of just put some vegetation around it. At first, I didn't really think it was, I didn't think it was that big of a deal if I used the sign. And then I just got compelled to use it. I just needed to make sure I emphasized that this was a hospital. I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking. I just really wanted to feel good about it because I didn't like the outside structure that much. I wanted to add accents to it that made me feel as though it was a hospital without having the inside figured out yet. Do you know what I mean? Like right now it just feels like a giant hut. I didn't really know how to make it feel like a hospital yet. But now I'm working on the back again, so I'm just kind of wrapping up the landscaping. And then I created this very open kind of, it's just like a shaded area. And there's just a few more couches and then that fireplace coffee table thing that we got with City Living as well. And I thought that was really nice. This is called what is this called? A gazebo. It's basically a gazebo, but, just kind of an Island Living version. And I did have to lift all the columns too, which I noticed this, and I'm hoping that with today's patch, which by the way, we got a huge patch today. Today's the 16th. We got a huge patch. And when I say huge, I just mean because there's, I think, a ton of bug fixes, and they didn't list all of them in the patch notes because they're sneaky. But this was also the day that console got access to the gallery. So it's cross what am I trying to say? Cross-platform. There we go. So the console players can now have access to the PC Sims 4 gallery and use the builds, which I think is so amazing. I didn't even know until they announced that the console players didn't have access to it. Like, that blew my mind. So I'm really excited about it. But what I'm trying to say is I hope that that little glitch is fixed, because I have noticed that the columns have acted a bit funny ever since they gave us the ability to kind of drag and drop the height differences and kind of adjust those height differences. So essentially when I put them down and then added a roof, what I used to be able to do was just click on them again real quick and they would automatically adjust to the roof height. But that didn't happen this time, so maybe that's fixed, or maybe it's not a bug at all and I just don't know what I'm talking about. That's also a very real possibility. And now I'm just adding some lights to the outside pathway there, just to kind of brighten things up a little bit in case your sim was here at night for any reason, which if you're playing the career, they probably won't be. And then we move on to the interior, and I just kind of light everything up, and the floor plan is actually very simple, though it's simple. It looks simple. Came together very simply in the video. Did not come together easily whatsoever. Oh my goodness. I can't even emphasize how long I spent on this. Trying to figure out the floor plan, I probably spent an hour, if not 2. I'm not even kidding. Like, it took that freaking long because I tried so hard to make the elevators work. So full disclosure, like, I didn't really know how to use the elevators until I started trying to use them for this build. And I also struggled with removing the floor surrounding this freaking staircase. Like, it was so hard for me. I couldn't understand it. I was like, why doesn't this identify this as a room? Just remove the dang floor. Like, why? I was getting so frustrated. I was a complete nutcase trying to figure this out. But I tried to use the elevators, and then I realized that, yeah, like, you can place them here. They're in the debug menu, but they won't work unless you're on an actual penthouse lot. I thought that since they were in the debug menu now and we could access them, that if I placed one on the top floor or the bottom floor of this build, that it would work. And it didn't. And you can only place one elevator per lot as well. So like, you would think, all right, I'll place one on the bottom floor and then I'll place one on the top floor on top of each other. So logically, like, you're going up to the second floor in the same spot. But no, that is not how that works. So I learned a lot trying to do this build. Like, I learned so much. So I had to settle for stairs, and that left me having to refigure the freaking floor plan so many times. Like, so many times, because I didn't want it to just be like this dinky little, like, wrap around staircase in a corner in the waiting room. I was trying to make it look somewhat realistic. Like, it would probably be a bigger staircase and most likely in the center of the building. So where am I going to put it? And I finally settled, all right, it has to go literally right in the entrance. It's a little awkward that some of the patient rooms are just right on the other side of the stairway, but you know what? I'm thinking that, of course, this is a nice hospital. I made it a very nice hospital, an upgraded hospital, but it is on an island. It's a smaller hospital. Maybe the layout's just a little bit funnier. I don't know. I had to kind of justify it for myself. But now I'm working on the front desk, and I did clutter it up with some file folders and other miscellaneous decorations. I also pulled out those magazine racks, and I end up placing some, I think, in the reception area, but more of them in the little waiting room that I create as well. And I was really excited about these security cameras. Those, I believe, were most likely implemented for, I think, probably the detective career. I mean, I can't say for certain, but they came with Get to Work, and I was stoked to use them because there's usually pretty high security at hospitals. So they're in basically every hallway, every area inside the hospital as well as outside. And now I'm just kind of wrapping up the front desk. I put a light there, and I think I already put like the tissue box and stuff like that. And I just wanted to kind of make it look as though, I don't know, I didn't want it to be messy because a messy hospital is not what you want, but I did want it to look as though it is, I don't know, part of the community. Like, this wasn't something that was newly erected in the community. This is a very used hospital. Maybe they're still on a paper system. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm going for. But now I'm kind of putting some seating out here in the front. So this isn't the main waiting room, but I did want there to be some seating in the front here. So I do toss this couch and this living chair and just a lamp and a little magazine holder, as well as those magazine racks that I end up leaning up against the stairwell. And I had no idea what to put on the back of these stairs because it's just like a hallway through that archway. And I felt like there had to be like a painting there or something, but I ended up putting a mirror. I don't know why that's what I settled on, but I liked the idea and I thought it looked really nice, so I just kept it. And I also tried to put at least one plant on each side of a lot of like the main entry areas. So like in the front, in the back, I did the same, I believe. Before it happens, I think I did, I don't know. And I also did upstairs too. And now on the outside of the patient rooms, I thought it was really cute to put the file folders on the outside there. And those little plaques I was thinking would have like the patient's information that they'd be able to change out. Maybe they're like little letter boards, and then the files are the patient files, so the doctor can grab them and then go take care of the patient and kind of make sure that they, you know, have the right documentation and all that fun stuff. And basically over here to the right is the waiting room, and then to the left is actually going to be where the chemical analyzers are, as well as the desks and computers and stuff like that. So the materials for the doctors, nurses, and the lab technicians to go ahead and do what they need to do. And then over here, because this actually leads out to that back garden area, is the waiting room, which I thought was really comfortable. It was really pretty, and I actually intentionally used the blue swatches of most things. And the reason for that is because I am fascinated with color psychology, and blue is supposed to be a very calming and relaxing color. And I mean, first off, they're under the ocean, so that's got to be relaxing in and of itself. But I thought that that would be something that a hospital would consider, especially if they were going to use a lot of color. So I wanted to kind of go with the blue theme. And over in this little corner here is basically the kids' corner, because the original like Willow Creek Hospital does have a little kids area, but it was before we had like toddler stuff or even some of the stuff packs. So I think it just uses like base game and get to work, I want to say, for the kid / toddler objects. There aren't any toddler objects, so I wanted to make sure I put the toddler blocks down there, as well as a bookcase and a toy box for the kiddos to hang out if people happen to show up with kids or something like that. I don't know. I wanted it to be realistic, so I kind of just added things that I thought would be in a real hospital. And this trim, you guys, it gave me so many headaches upstairs. You will see me struggle with it when we get there, but I needed to note it because I almost lost my mind. But before we go upstairs, I kind of wanted to sort out this room. Originally, I was going to put the treadmill and the x-ray machine here, but I didn't think that, I don't know. I was going to say I didn't think that the sick patients would want to walk through like the reception area to go and run those tests. At the same time, I do make them go upstairs and then have the test run. So clearly I'm not thinking of the patient. I don't work in healthcare anymore, and that's not why, but like I'm not thinking of the patient here. I just had to make the floor plan work. I don't know. But yeah, I made it basically like little doctors, nurses, lab technician area. So they have like a little sink over here where they can kind of keep some of their instruments and stuff like that. I didn't think it was going to be where they'd, you know, get all washed up to go perform surgery or anything, but I wanted there to be a little something there. And then they have these file cabinets, as well as at least 2 chemical analyzers, and then they have 2 desks with 2 computers. So I always run into the snag where I have my sim go to like log sample results or something like that as one of their daily tasks, and there's always a sim on the computer. So I gave them 2 computers, because maybe in the off chance that one is available, my sim can take it without having to like reset the other sim and kick them off or something like that. And I don't know, I thought it was a very peaceful place for them to focus in on their work as well. And I also used that really slim bookcase that we got with Discover University. I was really excited about that too. It was the first time I got to use it. And then I flesh out the patient rooms. There are 4 of them, and they are literally identical aside from the artwork. I think I just swap it out in each room. So you'll see me furnish 1 or 2. I want to say 1, honestly. Maybe 2, because I just show that I was copying everything over. But I was able to get the exam bed, this surgical light, which when I first play tested this, it did prevent the Sims from sitting down at the exam tables. So when I actually went back, I changed it up for the sake of upload, and so it's functional, because I play tested the whole thing. Like, play tested the surgery table, the exam beds, all of the testing machines, like everything is play tested, and it works perfectly, because this was a build especially even compared to like a lot of my residential lots that I wanted to make sure worked, because otherwise like you can't do your daily tasks. So I wanted to make sure it worked. And yeah, I got the surgical light in there, and then like another chair, so if they came with like a family member and they wanted to be there for support, the family member could sit in the exam room with them while they were waiting for the doctor. And then I just placed some seating areas over here near these big open windows in this hallway that stretches to the other patient exam rooms. And they just looked really comfortable. They're a little small, but I feel like they look very calming, and actually a place that you're not like scared to go to. Is anyone scared to go to the doctor? Because there are definitely times where I'm like absolutely horrified to go. There are other times that I can muster up the courage to go and I'm just like, I got this, it's fine. Kind of depends on why I'm going. But all in all, I don't really like going to the doctor's office. But this hospital, like, I would love to go here. I may not love the reason that brought me there in the first place, but like I would love to go to this hospital. I think it's really pretty. And I definitely would be kind of calm in the exam room. I would not mind staying there. But now on the upper floor here, so that area is all open near the staircase, and then these glass doors do lead to where I put the x-ray machine and the treadmill as well. And basically through the door from the room with the x-ray machine and the treadmill is the surgery table. So that is one of the differences as well. So with this kind of like little testing area and then the surgery area, there is only one x-ray machine and one treadmill and one surgery table. But I don't think it's a problem. And hear me out. If you've played the doctor career, you know that you are the only active like playable sim on that lot, right? And you're the one that is being tasked with the tasks that come with attending work that day. So if a collapsed sim comes in, for example, or a pregnant sim comes in and you have to bring them to the surgery table, it's not going to be preoccupied by someone else. Like, I've never, ever had a situation where there's been another like NPC sim trying to use the surgery table or the x-ray machine or the treadmill in any way, shape, or form while I am actively there playing a sim through their day in their career. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought it was fine. If it causes any kind of problem, I am so sorry, but I didn't think it was a big deal because I think it's only you and your active sim actually playing through and using those objects. So I thought it worked perfectly, and I was just really, really pleased with it. Like, I was really excited, and I think the last thing I work on as well are the bathrooms. Sometimes I do them right away, sometimes I save them for last, so I'm sorry that I saved them as the last thing that you get to watch in this build. But there are 3 stalls, and they only have the toilets and sinks. One of them is a little bit bigger just because it was an uneven amount of squares, an uneven amount of tiles. So the middle one is bigger, and then the other 2 are just a little bit smaller, but at least there are 3 separate stalls that any sim could use, and that way you're not like fighting for the one toilet. I think there was like 1 or 2 in the Willow Creek Hospital. I honestly can't remember anymore. And I actually wanted to use those stalls that we got with Discover University too, because I've been dying to use those in something outside of university on campus, but they wouldn't really fit here. I couldn't make it work, so we kind of just settled with your normal toilet and sink. But I really hope you like this. I really, really hope you guys like this one. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the shape, like the outside shape and the structure, but all in all, I thought it was a really kind of cool idea. Not that it hasn't been done, but I thought it was a cool idea, and I thought it came together really nicely, and I loved playing in this hospital with my sim in my legacy save file. So I really enjoyed it, and I hope you guys do too. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time I post a video. Bye!
Closer to the things we love. It's not a long way. to pay to get enough things we want. But if we take a moment to get closer, closer to the things we need, we wouldn't need that, looking at the things we have. Stay here under the palm trees. Won't you lay here with me? Baby, there's no plan for the wicked. There is no goal for the longing heart. Just another day to be with ya. When everything ends, it's a brand new start. Baby, there's no plan for the wicked. Darker are the days for the bitter ones. Baby, I'm just happy to be with ya. Ooh, there's no plan for the wicked. Baby, there's no plan for the wicked. There's no goal for the longing heart. Just another day to be with ya, with ya.